Hi, this is Jing Yang, and in this video, I'll be introducing our chatbot and the working mechanism behind our chatbot. When we first start with creating a chatbot, we will give the chatbot a picture to represent the chatbot, a name, a simple description, and instructions on generally how you want the chatbot to work. We will be mainly using topics to control how we want the chatbot to work and give it functions like these. And inside these topics, we will contain multiple nodes for us to control the actions of a chatbot, similar to like coding, but in more simpler ways, such as nodes. And when we want to add nodes, all we have to do is click a plus, and there will be many different type of functions for you to choose from. We have the most basic, send a message for the bot to just send a message to the user, ask a question like this one, which we will have some options to change its properties and how it works. Then we have our add condition, which we will use to control the flow of our chatbot, to control where it will be going. And we have the variable management, where we put things as variables when we want to control a certain value. And lastly, our generative answers, which is our chatbot, and when we want the chatbot to generate an answer based on the user's input or our predefined input, we will use this. Firstly, introducing our knowledge, we have multiple PDFs inserted into pages. The reason we did this is because the pages can be referenced in the chatbot. For example, I type density. The chatbot will give explanation with the referencing. So if we only put the entire notes as a single page, it will only be able to reference to the entire notes, which is not really helpful. So we separate it into pages so it can reference to a specific page instead of to the entire notes. We also have these ranges of pages in case that the separate pages, since some information in the notes may be separate across 2 pages or more, we add this range of pages for the bot to process it. Our first main function, which is like here to ask questions, is from the topic conversational boosting. Let me find it. Oh, it's on the system. Conversational boosting. Whenever the user keys in something that does not trigger any of the other functions, it will go into conversational boosting. And whatever the user type, which is under the variable activity text, the chatbot will generate a response. And when we generate a response, we will put in the knowledge that we want the chatbot to read. In this case, the first generative will create a response based on the pages. And there is some content moderation to make sure that the chatbot does not go out of topic. And we save our response from the chatbot as the variable answer. So whenever the chatbot fails to answer, which is here, or if it does answer, it will go to the is not blank, answer is not blank, and we will just go back to the menu. If the answer is blank, it will go to the second generative answer node, which we use the ranges of pages instead of the singular page. If it again fails, we will finally go to this, which we just use all of the sources instead of selected sources. If the final one does not work, we will redirect it. Redirect is another function for us to switch to another topic. And in this case, we switch to the topic fallback. Switching to topic fallback will cause us to be sent this message that the chatbot is unable to respond, since that would be most of the case, as the conversational boosting cannot answer. And we'll redirect back to the menu. If this fallback count, which is when we redirect to fallback, is less than 2, it will go here. But when it does more than that, we will be redirected to escalate, which in turn, we will be sent this message, which is to ask the user to contact the lecturer. And we redirect the menu. This escalate can also be triggered by the talk to lecturer, email lecturer, basically any prompt which is asking the bot for the lecturer's contact. Next, I'll be talking about our menu function. Our menu function is under the topic inactivity menu. It's called inactivity menu as it can be triggered by inactivity, which in our settings we do show that is for 300 seconds. If you're inactive for 300 seconds, no matter where you are, this menu over here will prompt. And most of the times, after our functions, we redirect back to the menu. So whenever they are done with all these, they'll just be redirected back to the menu. We ask the questions, which is this. We will allow the user to select a list of options for our functions. And we make it so that whenever you key in something that's not in the options, it will set the variable to empty. So when you key in something that's not in the options, it will be redirected to conversational boosting, where you'll be answered just like any normal question. And if you click any other of the buttons here or just key in, it will redirect to whatever you chose. This is called chapter selection terms or chapter selection summary, all this, because there are multiple chapters for each function. Going to chapter selection test, it also can be triggered by test me, ask me, just anything about testing. It will question the user which topic they would like to be tested on. And if you key in anything other than these options here, it will be blank, like just now the settings for the previous one. Whatever you key in that's not option, it will be blank, which the chatbot will send response invalid and go back to the menu. The rest of them will go to the topic. The chapter here, Basics of Fluid Mechanics, contains 4 different smaller topics. The rest of them directly just go to the chapter as it's a relatively small chapter and it's not split into multiple topics. Viewing the topic, we have here the topic selection. Again, similar to chapter selection, it just lets you select the the topics. After that, going into the topic, when we first click a topic, click a chapter, click a topic, we will be asked a question. Upon entering this viscosity topic, our first variable, which is our question number, is set to 1. And our question is set to a certain number based on the question number. See, in here, some variables can be controlled by formulas. And here, our formula is that if question number is equal to 1, which is just now it shows, it will put our formula, the outcome, as define the term density. That's why you can see here the question is define the term density. The question is asked here, and we use this so that the user is able to respond. After the user has responded, we put the input into the bot, which is we want the bot to provide feedback based on my answer, which is whatever you key in, and provide the model answer. So when you type, say, mass over volume, a result like this is given. Your answer, mass over volume, is correct. This is the feedback, and the model answer is given, which is given in these generative answers. And a bit slow to say, but this flow over here can be seen using these blue lines, this process. Anyway, you can see the flow. The question number is not equal to 6. We set it as 1 previously. That's why the flow went here, which goes down and goes here. Would you like another question? You can choose yes, no, switch topic. Switch topic since the chapter has multiple topics. And here, the topic selection stuff. And then whatever you type that's not in the options, similarly goes to conversational boosting. See, if we click yes, it will go back to this set variable value. It is something like a redirect, but it goes to a certain step in the same topic. Set variable value, which is here, where we go to this question again, and this time the question number should be 2. See, question number 2. The question number has increased since it has already tested a question. I forgot to mention the way that the question number increase is after the question is tested. The question number is added by 1. So just now after the first question, it went here and went to question number 2. So this cycle will continuously repeat until we reach the question number 6, because there are only a total of 5 questions. As you can see here, there are a total of 5 questions. Thus, when it reaches the so-called question 6, there are no more questions, and they will tell the user that we have finished answering all the questions, and if they would like to restart or to switch topic, of course you could click no, which will lead you back to the menu. Okay. Speaking of our next function, we go to chapter selection summary. Again, we can select the chapters, select the topics. Here, we can directly send a message because there is not much complicated steps to the summary. Our summary is more of a predefined thing rather than the chatbot generator, because the responses from the chatbot are quite different each time you ask it, and we wanted the summary to be set and not change every time we ask the same thing. Thus, we just set it as a predefined message containing everything. Only for the topics, then we will go here and then send another summary. There's not much complicated steps, as this does not really involve the computer generation. I mean chatbot generative AI. Next, we have our list of terms. I will skip the chapter selection terms since it's the same thing. When we first go to the terms, we will be able to see a list. This list is for the user to see what terms they want and select the number. Okay, I'll talk about the list and menu later. When we first key in the number, let's say 21, the flow goes here, which we will set the term that we want to put in the generative as the number here. So when you key in the number, it will directly put, say, term into static pressure if you put 8, all this, and put in the generation, the board. If the board answer is not blank, it will just go back to question. If it does not give an answer and it is blank, we will put in a second one with data sources that is range of pages. The first one is just pages only. Pages only. Then the next one, we have this, where we have the list function. Whenever we key in something that is not a number, it will result in blank, and then the bot will check if the whatever the user key in is list or not. This, since we put the list to show list of terms. Thus, if they did put list, we will put it and show the list of terms again by redirecting them to the message over here. If they did not, we will go into compositional boosting. And since there are 25 numbers, if they key in a number that is greater or equal to 26, the chatbot will tell that the number that is keyed is invalid to key in another number and redirect back to a question, which is here, for the user to key in a number. Then for the menu, like I said, the menu can be triggered either by inactivity or the keying in the word menu directly. Then next, I'll talk about our main function, the quiz. When we go to a quiz, you have the chapter selection, and we will then go to the quiz. We name quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3. This one is slightly more complicated and have quite a number of variables. I'll go through it. Okay. Firstly, we have our question number. Similarly to sample questions, is to control what we put for our output, like the question and the options, since our quiz is in a multiple choice format. All this here, since chapter 1 has multiple topics, we are giving the score of each topic here. We set the score of the topic to 0 first. Then we have our question, like say use the formula and the question number to decide what's the question. Then we have the variables A, B, C, and D, which are the options. And similarly to question, we select the output based on question number. I'll show an example of what the question looks like. See? A, B, C, D. All it comes from the question number. And we then set the correct answer, which is what answer that should be correct. We have the capital and small letter version. So they can type capital A or capital B, or small letter B is the same thing. Here is the question that is asked in the format question A, B, C, D as variables in here, and we will receive the user's answer. This is a special step only for quiz 1 since there are multiple topics. We set the topic that the score should be added to based on the question number. So say I type A. Okay. A, then my topic after question 1, which is topic 1, if the topic answer from user is same as the correct answer, the score will be added by 1. So this topic viscosity will be added by 1 if I got it correct, but I probably got it wrong, so yes. And say, what if we got it wrong? Instead of this correct answer route, it will go to the other one, which is anything that is not the correct answer. So if you type gibberish, it will still be considered as the wrong answer. It will go to here, topic var1, var2, var3. All these are essentially empty topics for us to put the questions the user got wrong. I'll just spam through the options to show you what it looks like. Here, we'll be able to see the wrong questions we got wrong over here, as every time we get wrong, we'll put it in these variables. So if var1 is blank, we will put it in var1. var2 blank, we'll put it here. So whenever something is filled, it will just go to the next variable, up to variable 4. Then after all the testing is done, it will go to show us the message which contains all of the score, the wrong questions, and if you like to move on to the next quiz, and all the outcomes again similarly. If our topic total, which is over here, the sum of all the scores, is equal to 12, which is full marks, we will be sent this message instead. Congratulations, you've scored full marks on the quiz. Going to our last function, we have the means of assessment. Means of assessment is when we ask what is the grading criteria, all this stuff, it will just send the bot to show the means of assessment, and it will take out the data from the knowledge base. Here, and with referencing. With this, I've covered all the functions of our chatbot. Thank you for watching our video, and goodbye.